At the Abrams Preview Luncheon in Philadelphia this January, Cece Bell discusses her new graphic memoir, El Defo. You won't want to miss this book. Check it out. Thanks.
Founding title, and I'm aware of that, El Defo, but that is what I actually called myself as a child. So the story is about me, and in 1975, when I was 4 years old, I got very, very sick with meningitis. And so I ended up losing about 85 to 90% of my hearing. And so because I already had language since I was 4, my parents put me in a school that had a class with other kids who also wore hearing aids. I got a hearing aid, and the other kids had hearing aids, and it was a strange period in the deaf community, or not even the deaf community, deaf history, where people were really encouraging children who had lost their hearing to learn how to speak and to learn how to lip read. And so the class that I went to was, it was a kindergarten class, and we were all taught not just reading and writing and all that other stuff, but how to lip read. And so I ended up being pretty good at it, and it's been my main form of communication and understanding people. And I have never ever learned sign language, which is a whole different story. But that's kind of what the story is about. But what happened was I was good enough at lip reading that when it came time for me to go into the first grade, I ended up going to a school that there were no other kids with hearing aids. It was just me. And so I went from a classroom where everybody was just like me to a whole school where there was no one like me. Okay, so imagine a very tiny child, and that very tiny child
I know what that is.
every day had to wear the phonic ear. Okay? So I'm going to put it on for you. And it still fits because I didn't grow. Okay, so, but the difference is, since I maybe developed a tiny bit, it now looks like the Cross Your Heart commercial. Jane Mansfield. Okay. All right, so this was my part, and it doesn't look all that big, but when you're a tiny child, it's enormous. And it also, you know, I always covered it, and it also had cords that went all the way up to my ears. And so the reason the character is a rabbit is because rabbits can hear really well. What's funnier than a rabbit? What, you know, these. So I won't put these on. But anyway, this was my hearing aid, and I felt very different. I felt so different that one of the first times, I think I was in the 2nd grade at this point, someone said, well, I don't know you very well. What is that? What is the thing under your shirt that you wear all the time? And I said, I'm pregnant. So really it was more embarrassing for me to be deaf, a valid thing, than to be a, 7-year-old pregnant thing. Think about that. So that's how embarrassed and ashamed I was. I had been hearing, and then I was deaf, and then I didn't know where I was. But I definitely wanted to be in the hearing community. So anyway, I'm wearing this thing, whatever, and the teacher was wearing this thing. Now some of you are nodding your heads. You may remember this thing.
Oh yeah.
And this, what happened is some kind of radio signal float through the air and amplified the teacher's voice just for me. And I'm the only one that can hear it. So as a demonstration, I'm going to ask Ms. Kindig to wear it. You're going to wear it.
I'll do it for you.
I was going to ask somebody at my table, but they're too close. So that's what she looks like. Pretend that she's my teacher, okay? And if it doesn't work anymore, but if she were to say something, and I have this all hooked up, it would be like she was talking right in my ear. And not only that, it magically clarified my teacher's voice. You can sit down, but keep wearing it. It would like magically clarify my teacher's voice so that I really didn't have to lip read all the time. I could look down and understand. So what happened was I felt like a freak. But what happened was I soon discovered that I could hear my teacher really well in the classroom. And then she left the classroom, and guess what? I could still hear her.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was like, yeah, superpower. So what did I hear? I heard her smoking, because back then they were allowed to smoke. You know, I mean, it was so strong. You know. I heard her gossiping with other teachers about how terrible we were. I heard her, I could hear her shoes clicking through the hallways. I could hear it all. And the best part was, or worst, and this is in the book, is that I could hear her using the bathroom. So, how did I know? I could hear Mrs. Kendig using the bathroom. And the reason I knew, well, you had to be sort of a sound detective, but you could hear the clicking of her shoes, so she's going somewhere, right? And then you hear this squeak. Maybe that's the door. And then you could hear this little oh yeah. And then the giveaway was the sigh of relief. I've emptied my bladder. I'm away from those horrible children. And then the waka 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 of the toilet paper, and then whoo, the flush. So that was pretty cool. The book is about that, and it's about it's sort of me going back and forth from the real world of being the only deaf person in the school to being a superhero in my mind who could hear everything and had all these powers. And it's sort of a reconciliation of, in the book is, you know, I messed with stuff a little bit. In the book, it seems like I come to terms with my deafness by the end of the book. And that's not true. It has taken me years and years to finally be at a place where I can actually say to somebody, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. It's taken me years to be able to say that, and the reason why. But in the book, I was sort of hoping that if there were other kids in the same situation, that they would say like, oh, wait a minute, I can go ahead and tell everybody that I'm having trouble and just not worry about it. You know, it's not that big a deal. But basically, by the end of the book, I actually come out and tell my classmates, which I had not told, that I could hear my teacher doing all this stuff. But once I told my teacher, suddenly I had friends, you know, oh, what's she doing now? So, I mean, it's actually, it actually ended up good. And so that's the book, and hopefully the kids who read it, and even the adults who read it, will realize that the things that make you really different once you grow up is those differences that make you super, you know,
Once again, that was Cece Bell talking about her soon-to-be-published graphic memoir, El Defo, at the Abrams Book Luncheon. I'm Ed Spicer. Thanks for stopping by. And thank you, Jason Wells, and thank you, Cece. Bye.